All right, it's doing a little trick of going live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So I wanted to share a technique that I've really been loving that is so simple and I find is really nice to do during your meditation, and it has so many benefits to it. So I've been noticing that there has been a misconception out there, I believe, in the breathwork world, and that is around that we can take in more oxygen when we breathe really quick, fast, and deep, um, and that we're over oxygenating our cells. And the science is really showing that that's really not the case, because what happens when we do that, and even this can happen from our everyday default breath, where it turns into what is called overbreathing. And so, even though you might be balance of oxygen and CO2 is crucial for proper oxygen absorption. And so sometimes what happens when we're doing these really intense breathwork techniques, or if we fall into this pattern of breathing too rapidly or up in the chest, what happens is we start exhaling too much CO2. And so when that ratio of those two gases of oxygen and CO2 get thrown off and we're exhaling too much CO2, we don't have enough of that in the body, then we're not able to absorb the oxygen into our cells. And so it might be coming into the body, but it's not really being utilized. And so this really leads to anxiety and sleep disorders such as insomnia and sleep apnea. And so it can act, and also asthma is a big symptom of this overbreathing. So this also will produce a gas called nitric oxide, which for many years up until really the 80s, science just chalked it up to be a toxic substance that contributes to smog, which is true. But then in, I think, the early 90s, they started realizing that this is an incredible molecule inside of our bodies, and it is produced in different passageways, nasal passageways, when we are nose breathing and when we have this soft, slow, calm breath. And so this nitric oxide is really beneficial to balance the nervous system and come into these deeper states of calm. So with this technique, let's see what else. Is there anything else I want to say about it? Oh, yeah. So one thing that is, I think, the most important thing to know in breath work is that you're breathing in and out of your nose all the time. Unless you're doing a very specific technique where there's mouth breathing, that's fine. But in your daily life, it is so important to breathe in and out of your nose. And mouth breathing is becoming so prevalent, especially with kids, and it's totally messing up their development and leading to so many different issues. And so mouth breathing is one of the main contributors of things like snoring, sleep apnea, insomnia, anxiety. So if you think that you might be breathing at night, there is things that you can do to really easily reverse that. And if you're breathing through the mouth at night, it's just not possible to get a deep, restful sleep. So if you're breathing through your mouth and you want to find out how to shift that, just message me and I can send you some resources. There's incredible research coming out about this as well, and really simple techniques on how to reverse this. So breathing through the nose, and also soft, gentle breathing, long, slow, and deep. So down into the belly, and coming more into a soft, gentle breath is going to help to calm the nervous system down. So it kind of feels counterintuitive, because when we're stressed out, we think that we should be taking these deep breaths. It almost feels like you're not breathing. So ideally, you can't hear the breath. It's that gentle. It's barely coming in and out. It's so soft and smooth. And when we do that, even though we're taking in a less amount of air, we are absorbing so much more of the oxygen. So I'm going to show you this technique that's really simple. I'll explain it first, and then we can do just 3 rounds of it, which will only take about 2 minutes. And even just doing this technique for 5 minutes will totally calm your whole system down. And this will start to repattern your default breath. And also, it will start to regulate that ratio of the oxygen and CO2. So if that is off, then this can really help to regulate it in a short amount of time. So I like to do it for 10 minutes, but even just doing it for a few minutes, like I often do this before I need to speak in front of a group or just calm down. Also, if you know that you're going to be talking a lot, you're going to be exhaling a lot more CO2. And so sometimes when we start to feel that breathlessness or anxiety when we're talking, especially in front of a group, that is it's happening on a biochemical level. So you can prevent that by building up some CO2 before you do something like that. So even just doing a long breath hold, so taking a few normal breaths, holding the breath, even just for a few seconds. But you can do that and then maybe add in a longer breath hold. And I recommend doing the breath holds after just a normal exhale. You don't have to do a big exhale and exhale everything out. Just do a normal breath and then invite in a breath hold after. So with this technique, we're just going to take 2 normal breaths, and remembering that long, slow, deep. You can remember that by the acronym LSD. And we'll be breathing down into the belly and slow and gentle. And remember, ideally, you can't even hear the breath. And so we'll do 2 normal breaths. After the second exhale, we'll hold the breath for 5 seconds. And if that feels really difficult, that's a good sign that something is out of balance. Not to worry, but just an indicator that doing something like this technique is going to be even more beneficial for you. All right, so if you want to join me, this will just be 3 rounds, so just a couple minutes here. And just so we'll start with a normal breath, keeping the lips sealed, in and out through the nose, and that really gentle breath. And we'll take 1 more gentle breath, long and slow, trying to have equal inhales and exhales. At the end of this exhale, hold the breath out for 5 seconds. So I'll just let you count on your own. And after those 5 seconds, just come back into a normal breath, in and out through the nose, imagining that there's feathers and you're trying not to ruffle them. So the breath is that gentle. And after that second exhale, hold again. After you exhale for 5 seconds. Yeah, and so you can do this when you're meditating or just anytime, even just for a few breaths, and it will really help to bring everything back into balance and calm down your whole system. So please reach out if you want to learn more about this. I do combine it with another piece that activates the vagus nerve by pressing a certain spot, and it's really, really powerful and super relaxing and simple. So feel free to reach out, and happy to chat more about it. All right, blessings.